This is Ryan Elliott for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. We're in London today to promote and talk about a huge British light heavyweight clash. With me, Anthony Yarde, who'll be taking on Lyndon Arthur April 11th at the O2 Arena. Anthony, before we get on to boxing talk, how are you, my friend?
I'm magnificent. Fantastic.
That's good to hear. Talk you through the chain, first of all. It's pretty much blinding me in this sunlight.
Come on, you know. AY. No, literally, it's just my initials, my little logo. Yeah, it's just, you know, I like jewellery, but I'm not one of them loud jewellery people. You won't see me with 8 chains on at once. That's not me. That's not in my character. I like a little shine here and there. I like my subtle pieces as well. Yeah, man, everyone likes nice things in life.
Away from jewellery talk, on a boxing talk, you're facing Lyndon Arthur, which is why we're down here. April 11th, O2 Arena, as I mentioned. Why this fight? Why now? Brilliant fight for the domestic light heavyweight scene.
Everything's timing. It's a good fight. It's an exciting fight for the fans. It's probably the best fight that could have got made for me and him right now. So it makes sense. The negotiations went well. I was happy with them, and I gave my go ahead. He's been asking for this fight. I'm not sure for how long, but he's called me out. And again, now he's actually taking the fight. It shows that it wasn't a bluff, and I'm happy with that. I'm very happy with that. It's due to be an exciting fight, 100%. We're both heavy hitters. That's what the records show. I'm very certain within my punching power. I'll tell you that much. And yeah, it's going to be an exciting fight.
You mentioned you're certain within your punching power, so we'll start there. Tundi always says that you're programmed to seek the knockout always, no matter what the situation. Is that the plan? Seek and destroy April 11th?
100%. That's how I've always been. I just feel like when you're watching a boxing match, I'm asking you a question. Do you not want to see a knockout?
Yes.
100%. So do I. I want to see a knockout. I want to knock out my opponent. When I'm watching boxing, I'm looking for the knockout. I'm only staying tuned. I'm like, okay, when's the knockout going to come? You know what I'm saying? Unless I'm watching, because I box now, I can appreciate watching Floyd Mayweather. I can appreciate, and I'm talking about the later stages of his career, not the early stages of his career when he was knocking everyone out. The later stage of his career, I understood the purity of the boxing skills he was developing, or he was producing, sorry. When you're watching up-and-comers, or you're watching people that, you might not have never seen them before, if I'm seeing bare rounds, I start looking around, I start going on my phone, I start yawning. Like, again, that's no disrespect, but it's just like, that's just the nature of the sport. We want knockouts, we want entertainment. You know what I'm saying? You need to be smart in doing it, but the goal is to give entertainment and to get the knockouts cracking.
Now, you've been there preparing for world title fights, you're now preparing for a pay-per-view, brilliant light heavyweight domestic dust-up. Does it give you that extra spring in the step when you're in the gym preparing for a fight like this?
I've always got that spring in my step, man. Always. I always take, every fight I've had, I take seriously. Every single fight. So again, as I get more involved in the sport, as I gain more experience, it's always gonna raise, it's always gonna lift. But my mentality is still lions in the camp, and that's seek and destroy. That is no fear. That is we must hunt. That is we need to eat. We have no choice but to go and eat, and that's the excitement of it, man. Lions in the camp forever.
Now, when I spoke to Tundi just before, I asked him what he expects from Lyndon, and he said to me, it doesn't matter what Lyndon Arthur brings. This is about being the best Anthony Yarde. Do you agree?
100%. Unanimous agreement. Unanimous. It's me and Tunde in this conversation, and what he said, I agree with 100%. I'm always going to focus on myself. When I fought KOVALEV, I focused on myself. When I fought all my opponents before KOVALEV, I focused on myself. It's not going to be no different. I'm always going to focus on what I'm doing well, what I could do better. That's it. End of story. And whatever anyone else brings to the table, don't matter. You know what I'm saying? Before I fought KOVALEV, he was his knockout monster. He dissected a lot of opponents, knocked them out. With me, he didn't knock me out. It was fatigue. I literally ran into a punch, fatigued. I wasn't even standing up straight before he landed the punch. I was almost tripping over. I could have literally just fell on the floor by myself. But I fell into a punch, and the fight got stopped straight away. The referee probably could see I was exhausted. So literally he waved off the fight. I went, no. I said, you ain't even counted. You didn't count 1 second. You didn't even count at all. I was like, I'm not sleeping. What count? But obviously, I knew the set. He knows he was doing his job. I was exhausted. Obviously, I will always say to myself, I've always got that thing where the second wind can come, and do you get what I'm saying? But being honest with myself, that's what I learned. Not to go out there and I could have tried to finish KOVALEV in a more intelligent way, but I saw, you know, when you see a ball, and they see that red thing. That's what happened to me. I literally went Goku in Super Saiyan 3. I saw the opportunity and I said, if this fight goes points, they're not giving it to me. He's got the fight next with Canelo. That's a big money fight. They're not giving it to me. This is my opportunity, full throttle, foot on the gas pedal. And that was it. And again, I exerted myself doing it, but I could have done it a bit more intelligently instead of just swinging left, right, left, right, left, right. That's not even how I fight. But that's part of the experience. And yeah, that's where the intelligence is going to help me raise my game.
With those things you learned and the changes you made on the back of that, that learning experience against Sergei Kovalev, do you think these domestic fights, these domestic dust-ups are the perfect way to put those things into practice ahead of another push towards world title contention?
For me, a fight's a fight. You know, when you start talking about British, domestic, titles, you know, it don't really faze me. For me, it's still a fight. It's still, you're two people going in there with the same rules, same objective. I want to knock out my opponent. I want to entertain the fans. I want to go out there and put on a show. And that's it. All the other stuff is just like, it's a facade around it. Do you get what I'm saying? After the fight, yeah, there's all these things like you get gifted a belt when you win the fight. You go up in the rankings. That's all the facade. That's all the process. But the main goal is the fight. That's all that matters.
Now, the WBO light heavyweight situation is a bit more clear now. You had that fight in Spain, which I'm not going to talk about because I'm sure you're sick of explaining it. And we've spoken a ton about that. We'll come on to it after this. But with that fight, you were then clear to fight for a world title, you know, coming off a win, so to speak. We now know there'll be 4-man box off for that belt, but did it seem for a while like you may be in line to fight for that belt?
Do you know what? It was just one of the things, just in case. If that fight got put to me, of course I'll be like, yeah, come, let's do it. But I couldn't have even had that choice if I was coming off of the loss. So it's just one of the things, get back out in there, get back in the ring. But I will fight. I'll be honest with you. This fight's on April 11th, yeah. I would fight. I know it might sound stupid to other people. I would fight, yeah, March 15th. which is a few days away. I will fight March 15th against the same kind of opponent because it's experience. Do you get what I'm saying? The thing people need to understand in boxing, yeah, the experience plays a lot. When Rocky Marciano was fighting people with similar records to the guy I fought in Spain in his 30th fight, people don't care about that now. He was 50-0. When Canelo Alvarez, who is relevant in this era, because things do change, you know. Back then they were having hundreds of fights. When Sugar Ray Robinson was having 200 something fights, you know, in his 80th fight he was fighting someone basically class it. It's a bit disrespectful, but a bum. Today it's a bit more different. So let's talk about a relevant fighter, someone that's present. Canelo Alvarez. Go and look at who he was fighting in his 30th fight, in his 29th, 31st fight. Do you get what I'm saying? Around them, those are building and learning fights. When he was fighting in Mexico, which were untelevised, no one was looking at the records of the people he was fighting. He was building experience. Amateur fights, they play a role because it's being in the ring, it's fighting, it's performing. Everything plays a role. If I wasn't the kind of person I am and I couldn't deal with, you know, pressure and I didn't have a mentality I had, a lot of things will make me freeze under pressure or make me freeze under the occasion. But it's just my mentality, and with experience, it will make all that the better.
How was that experience going over to Spain, sort of under the radar? I know it sort of came out eventually, but nobody was really aware until it was pretty much happening. Was it odd having an under the radar sort of fight abroad?
Yes and no. Yes and no. But again, it's experience. All that matters to me is, you know, sometimes you put yourself in scenarios which are foreign to you, you know, which you ain't used to. And that helps to build you. So, you know, going to Spain again, we fought in, it must have been like a club or a pub or something like that. Mad experience, you know. The people, the Spanish people out there loved me again. So again, that's always a good thing. And it's all experience, man. Every fight is experience.
You're clocking up a fair bit of experience on the road. Now, how much do you enjoy that? Because going over to Russia, people were talking about the hostility you might face, etc. But it looked like you had a great time. It looked like you were well received. You're saying there, people over in Spain loved you as well. How much do you enjoy being on the road?
I prefer fighting in England at all times, but it's certain things, it just needs to be done. You know, the Russia fight was big risk, big reward. So I was always going to take that fight. You know, it was the right paycheck, it was the right reward if I pulled it off. So I was always going to take that fight. That's just the sport of boxing. That's the art of being business savvy as well, making the right moves. I could fight anybody. I could fight anybody if I wanted to. Do you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't mind fighting anybody, but the paycheck has to be right and it has to be the right business move. It wouldn't make sense me fighting somebody at a certain period in my career when they don't benefit my career. Do you know what I'm saying? Anyway, I'm not going to go into that. But yeah, that's just it.
A couple more things before I let you go, Anthony. Appreciate your time. Also on this bill, another huge British matchup up at heavyweight, Daniel DuBois-JoyCe. How do you see that fight playing out in your mind? Joe Joyce sort of suggested in that press conference that maybe too soon for Daniel. Daniel perhaps suggesting that, you know, he's a different animal to what he was when those two shared those rounds years ago.
Pure bangs. That's just how I'm going to see it. Both of them. Listen, that fight is 100% not going the distance. It's not going the distance. There's no way that fight could, because the way they both fight, there's no boxing. There's no like. When I say boxing, I mean like on the back foot or, you know, working around the ropes and, you know, working at your opponent. They both do this, so it's a crash course. They're both coming forward. Dragunov, he comes forward, straight forward. He walks down bigger opponents than himself because that's how he fights. Daniel walks straight forward as well. It don't matter who's in front of him. You've never seen that guy take a back step. So what's going to happen in this fight? They're both going to go forward. And you've seen it with Daniel. Yeah, he's a young man, but anyone that's tried to trade with him, he trades back. He don't do the thing where he pays it. I see the highlights of him and the guy with the black guy with the ginger beard, and they were swinging for about 20 seconds, both of them, toe to toe, swinging. So that's what it's going to be, an exciting fight, 100%. Heavyweights, you know, it's exciting.
Final one before I let you go, Anthony. We saw you out enjoying yourself at Wilder Fury 1 way back when. Obviously, you didn't get a fight, but as a fan, you seem to enjoy the occasion. I'm sure you were watching Wilder Fury 2. How surprised were you by Tyson Fury's performance, and how do you sum it up as well?
You know what? I'll be honest with you. Tyson Fury has stopped surprising me. That's actually how good he is. He deals with big occasions like a real champion. How he deals with big occasions is very inspiring, and he's actually stopped surprising me, because to come back from depression and to fight Wilder, I think within a year, I'll come up. That's mad. That's madness. And again, they drew the first fight, and then again, he said it. Give me a bit more time, because now you ain't fighting the one that was coming off of depression. You're fighting a different guy now. He come forward, and he said what he's going to do. He said he's going to come to you. I'm not going to box this time. I'm going to come to you. That's what he did. He caught Wilder. You know, caught him. I'm sure he bursted his eardrum, because after that knockdown, Wilder couldn't get his feet back together, and Wilder might not even know that. That's what happened. He got hit in his ear. If it didn't burst his eardrum, it definitely took his equilibrium, because he couldn't keep his feet under him. He got hit with a body shot. He just fell on the floor. He almost fell on the floor when there was nothing going on. He was just walking. Again, I rate Wilder very highly. A lot of people don't, saying he's got no boxing skill, but you don't have that knockout ratio with no boxing skill. It's just not appealing to the most people. They don't want to see. They don't like his style until the knockout happens. But it don't mean he's not a technical. He don't mean he's not a good boxer. I rate him very highly. His knockout power is unbelievable. And I rate Tyson Fury very highly as well. And his heart and his will, his mentality is, again, unbelievable.
Anthony, I'm not going to keep you any longer. We've got a press conference about to start very soon, but thank you very much for your time. Thank you for always speaking to Boxing Social.